Hi, let's address some things regarding OnPassive, specifically the products. It being in this business, this affiliate marketing sort of business, which I've been in for 23 years now, the last almost 13 online, we come across all kinds of idiocy. And one of the things that's happened today, one of the things that happened is somebody reached out to me criticizing, why do they keep getting delayed? I don't know where this person got this idea. OnPassive hasn't been delayed. There's no such thing as a delay. It's not late. There's no date to be late to. And one of the things is, like, this person obviously just has no clue what OnPassive is. So right now with OnPassive, there are still founder positions available. So what's a founder, right? A founder is someone who takes a role in the founding of a company, right? It's not in PreLaunch. It's not, you're not a representative. You're not a, I don't know what the right word would be for it. You're not a distributor. Right now, if you were to get in, you'd be a founder. And this has never changed since the very beginning, since the very first day. There have only been founder positions available. And so for those people who, they recognize the vision of what we're doing based on the vision videos, who wanted to get in and become founders. So here's a definition of founder that applies. A person who creates or establishes something. A person who creates or establishes something. So as founders, and I've been in, I got in, I think, like September of 2018, something like that. And so during that time, myself, and now we've got just over 550,000 founders. These people are right now not customers, not representatives, not distributors, not affiliates, but founders. And it's never been called anything other than a founder. And so anyone complaining about something being delayed or late is either stupid or misinformed or crazy. There is nothing late. So this whole thing had to be developed. Okay. Now, you got to wrap your head around, how are you going to develop, what it is that OnPassive is going to become. So now, there's an NDA for OnPassive, and that NDA prevents us from disclosing certain things, and there's reasons for that. And those of you who have any business acumen at all understand the relevance of an NDA to these situations. And for a long time, we couldn't really even talk about the products. But just recently, they've posted, the products that are either done or close to being done, close to release, which we're very close to now. And I know that, in the past, even 6 months ago or a year ago, people were saying, oh, we're getting close. But the reality is we are getting very close. I mean, I can't give you a date, and this is just my opinion based on tracking with the founders' data. But I would say in the next few weeks, you're going to start seeing products dripping out, being released to founders for use, for testing, what we would call a soft launch. But, I'm not going to give you a date, and don't quote me on a date, but I'm fairly confident that's going to happen. Just in the last week or two, all these have been posted here so we can see them. So now we can talk about these because this data is out here in the public, and this is just at onpassive.com. So the other thing I want to do in this video is I want to try to help you wrap your head around just how big this is. People just aren't getting this. I have founders on my team who just don't get how big this is. So let's just take one product. So right now I'm looking at O-Trim. Now what's O-Trim? Well, O-Trim is a link shortener on steroids. So if you think about link shorteners, you're thinking about things like bit.ly, bit.ly. Okay. And a lot of people don't think too much about it. They think, well, I'll go to bit.ly and let's go there. We'll go to bit.ly and I can shorten my link and it's free and big deal. But they don't realize bit.ly makes like, what is it, $38 million or $34.8 million per year. That's just one link shortener out of the whole market. And they're not, I don't think they're even, I think they're like less than 20% of the market for that. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's something like that, like less than 20%. In 2017, venture capital put like $64 million or something, $67 million into Bitly. Well, what does Bitly do? Well, they allow you to shorten links for free, yes. And once you get to a certain number of them, you have to create a free account and sign in, and then you can view all your tracking. But a lot of people don't realize that they are actually a premium link tracking service. It gives you branded links. So you're shortening links that are branded. They're your own domain, right? Branded domain to you. And there's a lot of other features with full tracking. So you can see like what kinds of devices people are on and things like that. So you can go there and look at the pricing, and it'll break down all the different things that it does. But really the functionality that you're looking at would be comparable to this $200 a month level. So just generally speaking, if you think about trim, OTrim, you think about OnPassive's URL trimming, and you want to get an idea of how that's going to function, I could tell you, well, it's going to be superior to any of the functionality that's currently available online with these link shortening services. Look at it this way. So I can go to Bitly and I can pay $200 a month to get this functionality, or I can pay less than that for the entire suite of all the OnPassive products, which, depending when you come in as a customer after the products launch, that may be, I don't know how many will be live at that moment, but what we're going for eventually is somewhere around 50 products from what I understand. Right now there's, whatever there is, they're listed here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 15 that are out there right now. Think about that. That's just one of the services. So we're looking at one of these products, the OTrim, and we take one competing service that charges for the same, not quite the same level of functionality, somewhere around $200 a month, understanding that this service is, as far as I know, a little less than 20% of the market. I think Google's link shortening service is the majority of the market. You can look into that, but it's not like Bitly doesn't own the market. This is just a small chunk of it, and they're doing almost $35 million per year. That's a big deal. If you came to me with a network marketing company and you said, "Oh, we're doing $35 million a year," I'd be like, "Holy crap, you guys have been working." That's just one product. So the concept with OnPassive since the beginning that I've seen has always been, we're going to give people better versions, easier to use, without limits, for significantly less than what they're already paying. I wasn't even aware of all the stuff Bitly does, because I've been using Bitly since 2008, and it didn't do all this stuff back then. I had no idea. I used to think, how did these guys make money? I had no idea how they made money. I didn't realize they made $35 million a year. That's just one product of a large suite of products, all of which, with OnPassive, you'll get all for one low price. I kind of went through all these products on OnPassive. All the ones that are, not all the products, but the products that are posted here in the for the public to see that I can talk about now. And I said, well, what would be comparable to that product? What would be the competitor out in the market right now that's leading in that area for each of these products? And I put together a little list, and this is just my list. This isn't something that was provided to me by OnPassive. Everything in this video is just my observation, my opinion, okay? But you have to think with this. If you could just imagine, if you could snap your fingers and have as your own product to offer to sell to the market a better version of Zoom or Adobe Connect or GoToWebinar. So if we look at something like Zoom, for example, Zoom is free for one-on-one meetings. Zoom, if you pay a certain amount of dollars, you can have more people on the meetings, or you can extend the time of the meeting. And depending how much you want to pay, the more people you can have on the meeting. Same with GoToWebinar. GoToWebinar, I think, is about $500 a month for up to 3,000 attendees, something like that. These aren't cheap. So if you just think about how many GoToWebinar users there are, and how many Zoom users there are, and you just made that a market, if that's the only product, and we could come along and say for 1/50th of the price or 1/20th of the price, we'll give you better quality video meetings and webinars with more functionality and whiteboards and things like that, and ability to, what do they call it, collaborate, so that more than one person can draw on the whiteboard. So, all these different functionalities that some of these things have without limits. Why in the name of God would anyone continue to pay more for the other services? It doesn't make any sense. Now let's apply that to domain names. Let's apply that to e-learning platforms like Udemy. Let's apply that to things like Aweber and GetResponse. Let's apply that to text message marketing systems like TextBot, for example. Shopping carts, social media, media buy sources for automated web traffic. What about ClickFunnels or DropFunnel? I mean, ClickFunnels for the cheap version's $97 a month. It's $97 a month, and you're going to have with OnPassive better and easier to use funnel builders the price isn't even going to be, we're in a completely different sport here, folks. QuickBooks. How much is QuickBooks worth? Let's look. Annual revenue of QuickBooks. So their net income for 2019 was $1.5 billion. Their operating income was $1.8 billion. What about contact management? What about Salesforce? Total fiscal 2021 revenue was 20. That doesn't make any sense. They must be doing this prorating it. Okay, so fourth quarter revenue. Fourth quarter and full. Okay, so their last fourth quarter revenue was $5.82 billion. So multiply that by 4. That's roughly what, $23 billion for 1 year for one product. What if we could take and give you an accounting functionality that's better for way less money? Do people want that? And I'm just making sure I can talk about that because it's here on the page. Okay. As far as I know, all these examples I came up with here were all just based on the stuff on this page. What about Photoshop? So here we've got like Bitly, ClickMeter, MyClickBoss Pro, things like that. So multiply this across dozens of products and services, and understand that part of your membership also gets you traffic and leads and AI. It's hard to explain how this is going to work, but there's artificially intelligent ways of driving traffic to driving attention to these services so people can use them. Some of these services will be free, and because they come in through you, there will be a little bit different way. You'll get paid a little bit more on the earnings as part of the company-wide profit sharing. Okay, this is a big deal. So people keep saying, what is it about? I don't like, what's the big deal? I think what's happening is people, because they're either not founders or they haven't activated their founder membership, or they're not logging into the member area and going through the founders webinars. Because there's been a founders webinar, live video meeting every week since, I don't know, for 2 years, something like that. When you track through all of those, you hit a point where you go, oh my God, this is like the biggest thing I've ever seen. It's bigger than you can imagine. If all we had was one product, that would be enough. So these are all just internet business related products. I haven't even gotten into, and I don't know if they're even posted here. There's at least one on here that's not really an internet business product. But if I was to tell you everybody who uses the internet is going to want to use OnPassive, and that's going to be for some services that are not posted here yet that I can't talk about. So it's not merely limited to just your internet business. What if we take 10% of the users of Aweber and GetResponse? And I'm not picking on Aweber. I use Aweber. I've been using them since 2008. They're fantastic. Okay, so they did just over 2 million in 2020. So you've got SendGrid, Aweber, GetResponse, SendLane, MailChimp, and 3 dozen other mail services. That's just one product. So I can't even lay it all out for you because it's too much. Your mind rejects the size of it. It's like trying to conceptualize hundreds of trillions of dollars. It's just too big. So I think what's happening is a lot of people are not getting just how big this is. So forget about the founder thing. Forget about the no risk thing, because our founders have no risk at all. Like if there's something you don't like about it and you get in there, you can get your founder feedback. There's zero risk. Forget about the fact that people are going to be able to earn based on the company's AI profit sharing model, which is completely unique. It's never been done before. You can't even relate this to something else you've ever seen because it's not like anything else you've ever seen. Forgetting about all that, just focusing on the products. If there were no company profit sharing program, right? If this wasn't at all in any sort of home business niche or affiliate niche, and all there was one product, just pick one of them. Just pick the O Counting, for example, or pick the O Trim. It would be massive. So when you see posts out there for me or videos or emails and I say, look, this is going to be bigger than anything you've ever seen. It's going to be bigger than anything you can imagine. There's a reason why it's taken 2+ years to develop this. One thing I noted for this critic who reached out to me today, and I don't mean any disrespect to this person. They may be a super cool person, but it could be just they've gotten false data from somewhere else because there's a lot of idiots posting stuff out there and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Nothing's delayed. This has been in development. So you have to wrap your head around, okay, if I had to create all this from scratch, because there's like, get a WordPress site and install a membership plugin and then get Shopify. There's like that thing, which is like people like me do, like small one-person independent affiliates, because we can do that with several $100s and, a week worth of time. That's not what this is. This is all being built from scratch by our own engineers and our own coders. So I pointed out to this person today, if all you had to do was acquire business licensing to be fully legal in 190 countries, that would take you more than 2 years. If all you had to do, if you had one job and your job was just to hire the 1,000 staff members that we're going to need to do this, that would take you more than 2 years. Forget about building it. Forget about trying to even communicate what it is you want built. Just worry about finding the engineers and the developers. Go try to find a competent data scientist or machine learning engineer who understands exactly what you want, who's great to work with, who's in the location that you need them in, who can get the job done. Now multiply that. Right now we have, from what I understand, a little over 600 staff. That may have changed in the last few weeks. I'm not sure. They've got their own building, right? Legal services all over the world, business registration all over the world, right? Massive staff to build all this stuff from scratch. And then think about the amount of work and time and expense to get in and actually build these things. I would say to you, go out and try to build another Zoom, but make it better and make it so you can deliver it unlimited and have better quality. And make it so you can do that for so much cheaper than what people are already paying for it that people can't even believe it when they see it. Now multiply that across dozens of products and build them all from scratch, coding them, and make them sexy, and make them easy to use, and make them stable, and make them fail-proof. I mean, just hiring the HR staff to deal with the staff needed to do this is more than most of you could accomplish in 2 years. The people putting this together, particularly the CEO, these people need a friggin' award. An award for accomplishment, like something comparable to the Nobel Peace Prize, but like for accomplishing things in business. Is it delayed? No, it's not delayed. Is it late? No, it's not late. It's never been anything but in development. But it just happens to be at the time of making this video that we are getting very close to starting to test these products within the founders. And there are still founder positions available. And, I'll be very straight with you. If you're watching this video and you don't decide to become a founder, it makes absolutely zero difference to my life. But if you do decide to become a founder, it could make a huge difference in your life. And the fact is, there's zero risk. And once this window closes for founder positions, they're gone. You're not going to be able to do that. Now I have an opinion. And this is just my opinion, and I'm not making an income claim. I don't know what you're going to earn. I don't know how much the company profit sharing is going to pay out. I have some kind of an idea from going through and tracking through the founders' webinars over the last 2 years, but I'm not going to share that with you. But my opinion is even the very last founder that comes in, whether that's a week from now or 2 weeks from now or a month from now, whenever that window closes, the very last one is going to end up being very, very wealthy. That's my opinion. I can't guarantee you earnings. Whatever I earn or someone else earns may be exceptional, not typical. You could earn a different amount just to fulfill my required disclosure obligation. But I believe that the very last founder to come in is going to be very wealthy. And there's not a lot of time left. As a matter of fact, if you got in now and you started going through the webinar replays, you might just get through enough of them by the time the products officially launch that you really have a handle on what this whole thing is about. Every single one of your family members should be a founder. Every one of them. I have 4 accounts myself right now, just for me. There are people out there just go Q&A and should I become a what's the risk? Do you want to be part of the biggest business venture to ever exist right in the very beginning with products that we already know people are spending billions of dollars to use to have worse quality than they're going to have here for a tiny, tiny fraction of the cost that they're already paying? Do you know how many people like me are going to be able to just cancel hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of monthly expenses and put it all in one location for a tiny fraction of what we're paying now? And then sharing in the company revenue, we're going to get paid instead of having to pay for it? This is the most potential in my 23 years, this is the most potential I've seen for anything. It's about as close to perfect as you could, if you were to note down what your perfect business would be, it's about as close to perfect as you could ever come up with. And man, we're getting close. So, if that doesn't get you to the point where you're like, oh, I begin to see why this is so big. I begin to see why, I think now we're at 551,000 and change founders. These are people who've paid for their founder positions, confirmed them, signed their NDA. In other words, they've made the commitment. They're in it to win it. Okay, this doesn't include the other however many pending founders there are who never signed their NDA yet and haven't paid. There's probably another 400,000 of those if I were going to guess. And this is before the general public is even aware of this stuff. What if all you did was you just found people who are using GoToWebinar and you just let them know, hey, you can try ours for free, and if you like it better, it'll save you like $400, $500, however many dollars per month you're spending? What if that's all you ever did? Hell, what if you did nothing? Do you know that if you do nothing, you'll still earn? You'll still earn just for using the greatest products online. It's amazing. I have trouble sleeping after every founder webinar. You should be excited. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll put my info under the video or on the video. I appreciate your time. We'll talk to you next time.